No se escucha nada. No se escucha.
Hello, do you hear?
Hello. Ahora sí se escucha.
Is it okay? Yes.
Yes.
Do you hear me? Then
Yes.
Joyce can work over my laptop. Okay. We will try that. Okay. It's the same laptop. The same event.
Okay, hello everyone. I'll work with two laptops so that I can also see you. Welcome. I hope you can hear me now. Very happy to be here. This is today's agenda. We'll start with a short introduction and then I'll talk about problem-based learning in Maastricht and other design theories. Tomorrow, I've planned for a bit more time, so if we don't make it through the topics today, I'll use tomorrow. So, I'm from the School of Health Professions Education, and when we say health professions, we mean health professions in the broadest sense of the word. So, it's from medicine to physical therapy to bioengineering, biomedical sciences. At our school, we offer education, research, and collaboration for anyone who's working with health professions education. And we aim to improve it. So we have SHE Research, where we do research, like the name says, but we also offer a PhD program. We have SHE Education, and we offer student-centered learning and support with implementing that. And we have lots of different programs. We have introductory courses, a certificate course, but also a master. We work online and offline, and I'll tell you more about that later. Here you see an overview of the courses that you can have a look at another time. And then I'm from She Collaborates, and we are an international office, and we have partnerships and projects worldwide to improve health professions education. Sometimes we also move away a bit from it. My last project in Iraq was about improving education for internally displaced people and refugees. We can work on site on your campus campus, but also online, and offer tailor-made capacity building. Here you see my team. This is the team we're working with. I have a background in medicine, global health, and youth education.
Yes. It takes a long time to change.
And while I was working at Maastricht University, I, was surprised to find my love for education. So I've been teaching at Maastricht University and in our projects globally. So these are our projects that we've had so far, or countries we've worked with. And now I would like to get to know you a bit more. And the first question I have, and I want you to use the hands option in Jitsu to raise your hand if you've been a student yourself or if you are a student.
Voy a repasar.
So I've been a student.
Un curso que tengo que pasar que es en inglés y no entiendo nada. Me voy. ¿Por qué? ¿Tú vas a ir?
No one else studied.
Me voy.
Can you unmute?
Hello.
I think you can mute yourself. Pueden hablar. Egbert, puedes hablar.
Hello. My name is Damis. I am teacher and I have a few experience with educational design.
I think it's still not working. And there's a student with the
¿Nos
button.
pueden poner en el chat si no están escuchando?
Okay, Lorenzo, you can speak. I'm only not sure which. Okay, Lorenzo.
We will try again. 2 seconds. And maybe put off my sound.
Hello,
Your sound is off.
I am a teacher too. It's a pleasure to stay here. It's my third year actually at university as a teacher, and I have some experience too with educational design because of the period of COVID. And my expectations today is getting better skills for this kind of education.
Dime.
Thanks, Lorenzo.
Eso porque ahorita está lloviendo otra vez. Ay, no. Sí.
Okay, I'm going to continue talking. I'm not sure if I can hear you. We're trying to fix it with the microphone and speakers. But at least we're able to get through
Buenas
some more of the information that I
tardes.
want to share with you. Normally, I practice what we preach, but
¿Cómo siguió?
Bueno, hijo.
I think today with the internet connection, I need to make it a little
Pero no, hoy no me das cuatro, mañana.
bit less interactive.
Yes.
Student or any other moment that you learned something moments.
Yo he tenido día de combate.
Yes.
We've added another speaker microphone thing. Now here surrounded by 3 laptops, and I hope it works.
Esto es un curso que yo tengo que estar, que es en inglés. Por la universidad estoy internacional. Por eso lo están dando en inglés.
I
Y al
can hear
final,
you, Marlena, but I'm sorry, I don't understand Spanish.
yo le traje un lapicito, un colorcito y la goma.
Si tienen comentarios, también pueden ponerlos en el chat para poder contestar a sus preguntas.
I don't hear you, Johannes. Oh,
Their side is no, it's active. el problema no es aquí, es probablemente en o la comunicación o en vosotros.
I'll just continue and imagine this was the moment where we've shared our meaningful moments and talked about that one professor that was always super enthusiastic and answered all your questions, and their enthusiasm made it a very meaningful moment, or something along that way. So problem-based learning. What I first want to talk about a bit is about teaching and learning. And what we often think is that teaching is the same as learning, but it's not. So students are not empty vessels that are filled by the wisdom that their teachers are willing to pour into them. So the information transfer is not that I'm talking here and it just suddenly appears in your head. And besides that, the future is very unknown. So we train our students for maybe 60 years of working, and in that 60 years of working, there's so many new research that comes out that it's impossible for us to learn, to teach all the students all the things that they need to know for their professional career. So if we look at these numbers, um, how much we remember is also depending on the way that information was offered in the first place. So you see here very neat numbers, 80%, 75%. This is way too neat for scientific study, but it's a general tendency that's found in educational formats over the years. So you'll see that with a lecture, people remember the least, but when you teach others, you'll remember the most. So effective learning is influenced by the way the information gets in, the way it gets stored, but also the way it gets out again. So with this in the back of our minds, I want to talk about the problem-based learning principles of Maastricht University, the CCCS: collaborative, constructive, contextual, and self-directed. So here I was going to let you think about the advantage for a moment yourself. But collaborative learning, when you work in a team and you tackle problems from different perspectives, you also become active listeners, while at the same time practicing your communication skills. You're learning to pursue a common goal, respect and trust your colleagues. Actually, what you're going to do in real life as well once you're a employee somewhere. By working together with others, it also helps to look at problems from different perspectives and life experiences. So you can see this in education, for example, from study groups, team-based assignments and writing, and cooperative projects and research. Then the next one is constructive learning. And I'm going to pause for a moment so that you can think for yourself what a benefit would be of constructive learning. So knowledge is constructed by each person in their own way, based on what you already know, and it's strongly influenced by your social environment. What you know is what you see. So by applying this principle to your education, you let the learner construct their own understanding. So they're going to build their knowledge and realize that there's often more than one correct answer or valid point of view. You probably remember that at some point in your childhood you thought, hey, at least for me in the Netherlands, not everyone is riding their bicycles to school. Other people are going by cars. Because when you're growing up, what you see is what you know. And we need to deconstruct that and construct our new information again. The next learning principle is contextual learning. What would be the benefit of contextual learning? So by putting a problem or a case in the real world, the learning is very authentic. People like to learn things when it's relevant to them, when they know they'll able to use it, but also when it reflects their real life. Um, so also by putting information in context, we're also better able to understand it. So when you're designing your assignment or your case or your course, it's very important to design a different learning environment so that students can discover how to relate abstract ideas to the practical real life situations. And advantages is that it actually engages students more, and it also leads to increased persistence and successful transitions. The next learning principle is self-directed learning. I'm going to give you a moment again to think about a benefit of self-directed learning. So self-directed learning means a process in which you take the initiative yourself and see what you need to know and formulate learning goals. And based on that, you're going to look for information. You're going to look at different sources and analyze them. And that way you learn how to learn. But it's also better for the learning experience of the students because they can control the flow of their experience. They can start small and grow bigger. And it also makes them very responsible for their own learning process, what they also need in today's workspace. So we've discussed contextual learning, collaborative learning, constructive learning, and self-directed learning. And now I'd like to ask you to think about your own course that you're teaching or designing, and if there's elements that relate to the CCCS principles. No, that's this one. Okay. Would you like to share if you have elements in your course or other things that you teach that relate to CCCS? You can also do it via the chat if that's easier than with the microphones. I don't see anyone typing, so I'll continue. So PBL fits in this graph in the top part. So practice by doing, teaching others, and discussion groups. Because problem-based learning in Maastricht looks like you receive a case, and together with the group of students, you're going to analyze the case and see what your learning goals are. For example, in medicine, it could be you find a person lying on the street. What's wrong with the person? And then you're going to make your own learning goals. Oh, if a person is lying in the street, I need to know something about first response. I maybe need to know something about breathing because the person might not be breathing, and about the heart in case there's no heart sounds. So in that way, you'll make your own learning goals, and it's very contextual because as a doctor, you need to be able to respond to someone lying in the streets. And then when you have made your learning goals with the group, then you go home and you go research. And then on the next tutorial group, you come back and then you discuss with each other what you found. So that together, you're going to say, hey, I found that when a person is lying on the street, you first need to check if it's safe for yourself to go to the person, and then the other person will continue with that. At the end of the presentation, I've added a lot of videos so that you can watch how a problem-based tutorial is designed at Maastricht University. So it's small tutorial groups with 1 tutor and 10 to 20 students. We have very few lectures, and we aim for active learning. And while you're doing this, you're already developed professional competencies because you need to collaborate with your group members. You need to practice your public speaking, your problem solving. The tutor is always very approachable because you see them throughout the entire course for 1 or 2 times a week. And the tutor is there mainly to support you, but not to give you the answers, because you're meant to find the answers with your group. All the cases that you discuss in your tutorial groups are related to real life and the contextual learning. And one PBL cycle, so you'll have a case, you have a block book with a couple of cases, and what you're first going to do during the tutorial group is you read the case, and you clarify the terms and objects, and then you identify the problems. That's the second step. Then you brainstorm with your group about what are possible learning goals, what do we need to learn to solve this case. You analyze it and you define the learning objectives. With those learning objectives, you go home and you go study. You go to the library and you look online for sources. And then on the next tutorial group, you come back and you share your results and discuss your findings. Which is very interesting because sometimes people find different things, and then you go into a discussion and learn from each other why it is different, or why you should view it a certain way, or maybe you've missed something and then someone else can explain it to you. In the block, so our year of study is divided into blocks of 8 weeks most of the time. We have to make sure that the activities that the students do relate with the outcomes that we want the students to learn at the end of the block, and with the assessment, with how we're assessing this. So I've scheduled for a small break, but maybe let's see if there's any questions. You can write them in the chat or unmute yourself. Okay, I don't see any questions, so we'll continue. We're now going to discuss other educational models. So we just talked about problem-based learning and how that's applied in Maastricht University, and which principles they use to design their education. The next one is Keller's ARCS model, which focuses on the motivation of students. This might be particularly interested in if you're designing open education, because in e-learning, when people have to do things by themselves, it's way more difficult to motivate the learners than in face-to-face courses, which I think we might be experiencing during this conference as well. So there are 4 components to this model. It's attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction. The first one, attention, refers to the learner's interests. It's very important to get a hold of the learner's interests and attention to ensure that they continue to be interested in the rest of the course. The relevance, the learning process should show the usefulness of
No se escucha, algunos no escuchamos. ¿Alguien escucha?
Yo te escucho.
José Julián de Cuba, se escucha cuando usted pide a la profesora que no se escucha.
¿Alguien de los que están en la UCLV logra escuchar a los que estamos hablando?
Yo logro escuchar, yo estoy escuchando. Pero no de la UCLV. Estoy acá en la casa escuchando.
Yo escucho a Nancy y escucho a la persona que habló con anterioridad.
Pero no la transmisión.
Igual nos pasa a casi todos los que hemos hablado, Lorenzo. Nos escuchamos entre nosotros, pero no escuchamos a la persona que está hablando, presentando la presentación. Repito, valga la redundancia.
Además, no deben entrar a la reunión a lo que estamos intentando. Nosotros intentamos no deben entrar a la reunión.
Hola. Hola, ¿ya nos escuchan?
Refer to page, refresh Jitsi, and share again. I don't know.
Yeah, we can try it again.
Maybe.
Okay. Different approach.
That's not here. It's with already connection or.
But no one is listening. In the different institutions, no one is listening.
Then it's the connection. I cannot see anything else.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yes. What was the last thing? Do I need to get back a couple of slides?
Working with the headphones.
Did you hear my slides? Okay, there's RC. Okay. So I might be repeating myself now, but that helps with learners' retention about the models. So hopefully you'll continue to hear me now. So the first model that we were talking about was the Keller's RCS model, which focuses on the motivation of students. This model is particularly important for e-learning since it's more difficult to motivate a learning during a e-learning than during a face-to-face course. Well, partly it might be because of the different issues that you and challenges that you have to overcome just to get through the information. That's also something that we will talk about tomorrow. And there are 4 components. It stands for attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction. So the attention is the first part that's very important. You want to get the learner's interest. And you will also want to ensure that you keep their interest during the e-learning or course or blog or whatever it is you're designing. The second is relevance. And now you see again the overlap with the PBL. So with PBL, we use the learning principle, which is called contextual learning, which also showed you the relevance of what you're learning for the real life. Here, relevance. So you want your learners to know that the content that they are learning is useful in the real world. The third one is confidence. You want that your learners build confidence so that they expect to have success at the end. And when you have success expectation, you also have control over your own learning process. When you think, I'm not to finish your course. The fourth one is satisfaction. And being satisfied with a course is very important for your motivation again. If you're satisfied with what you've achieved during the course, then you're also very motivated. The next one is Cognition. And this is based on the way that we as adults process information when we're learning and what is happening when we get stimulated from our environment. So this helps you to have a strong foundation of your lesson plan or online module. So you start with gaining attention. Structure the lesson, get your learners' curiosity, and make them interested in what you're about to do. The second thing is to inform them with objectives. Clarity is always very important, and you want that your learners know why you're discussing the topic X, Y, Z, so they can frame the information. The third one is to stimulate prior knowledge. So you can do a brainstorm and people are able to connect what you're doing now to what they've learned previously. And here again, you see overlap with PBL at Maastricht University as well, because there we have a specific moment of brainstorming. The fourth one is presenting a stimulus. So you introduce learners to the new content. You can use a video, infographics, or readings, or anything else. Then you want to provide guidance. You want to help students with retaining the information. That can be a handout of how to do certain stuff. It can be a rubrics. It can be a class discussion. Then the next one is the performance of the student. You want them have the ability to confirm that they understand it. So you can have a game, or you can have them explain it to others, or apply it to another project. There's different ways, but you want to repeat it as well so that they also remember the information later onwards. In this process, you also want to provide them with feedback. So questions that you're able to answer them, but also if they're not doing something right from the beginning, that you can catch mistakes early onwards and guide them, and show them what they're already really good at and what they can still do better. The eighth one is to assess the performance. You can have them give a presentation or do a project so that you can determine how far along they are with the new content. And the last step is to enhance retention, so to help them with implemented the skills and knowledge in real life and to keep on doing that. So the next one, 4CID, is actually developed by a professor at Maastricht University. And when I first saw this picture, it got me a bit worried because there's a lot of in it. So I'll try to just give you a global overview. He also wrote whole books about it if you're ever interested in learning more. It's an approach for complex learning, and it's aimed to integrate knowledge, skills, and attitudes at the same time. So, for example, when I'm a doctor, I need to have the knowledge to assess a patient. I need to be able to know what kind of diseases they could have, what would be the symptoms, and how can I diagnose that. I need the skills to make the diagnosis. I need to be able to listen to their heart and lungs and feel their pulse. And I need to have the right attitude towards the patient, because you want to approach them respectfully, and you want to be able to calm them and explain how and why you're doing certain stuff. So 3 things at the same time. And what this model wants is that you're constantly learning with all those 3 things at the same time, so a whole task. But at the beginning that you need to learn something, you'll have a lot of support. And then later onwards throughout the block or the course, or how you call it, the support will become less. Here, the dark blue part shows the supportive information. So at the beginning, you get more supportive information, at the end, less. And this is the part tasks. And this refers to tasks that you need to be able to do and repeat without thinking. So for example, as a doctor, you need to be able to give the patient injections. And that's something that you want to do without thinking. It needs to be automated. And in every job, we have tasks that you need to do on automated pilots. So you also practice those. We can go way more deep into this, but I think this is the most important part of it. The design is mainly for face-to-face training, and it can be used for online or blended learning, but it's not necessarily made for it. What comes back in this design again as well is that it offers realistic tasks. So it's what you're going to do when you're actually practicing the profession of the study that you're following. So here you see again that relevance or context is very important in this model. Then the last model, it's the EDDI model, and it's 5 steps. It's analysis, design, develop, implement, and evaluate.
I'm afraid that what?
A recording?
Yes, I guess.
Okay, there's something with the recording. We heard a ping, so that's my hesitance to continue talking.
What does it say? Go back to the live stream. No, it's there. I don't know. So good. We have to go back to the right page. Okay.
Yeah, okay. We're back. Clear learning objectives, carefully structured content, controlled workloads for the students, integrated media, and relevant student activities and assessments. Tomorrow we'll start with the analysis part, because we're going to analyze your learners and what kind of resources you need. Especially in open education, it's important because it will tell you something about the conditions of your educational model. So tomorrow, like I've said, we start with a recap. I can answer any questions that you still have that we couldn't answer today because of the connection. Tomorrow, my workshop is at 1 p.m., so there won't be any rain yet. Then we'll talk about learner needs, constructive alignment, and some tips and tricks for blended and online learning. On Moodle, I've added 2 articles. The first one is the 5 E's of an excellent teacher. One of the things the article states is that you're either born a teacher or you're not. That is the part that I don't believe. I believe you can also develop being a teacher or suddenly realize, like me, that you actually enjoy teaching. The second one is about interactive lecturing. So I've told you today that with a lecture, you're actually remember the least amount of information. But we use a lot of lecturing during our classes and education. This article will help or give ideas to make it more interactive, which helps again with the retention of information for your students. Please only scan it because it's quite long, and you can use it later and you can go deeper. Or feedback at the moment.
Where do you find?
And then there's topic 1, and under topic 1 you'll see homework and homework 2, and if you click on it you can download the article. Okay. Thank you very much for listening and your patience with, well, all of it. I hope you've enjoyed it, and don't hesitate to ask me any questions on Telegram or Moodle if you have them. I'll try to upload the PowerPoint tonight already so that you can go over it yourself too. And I hope to see you again tomorrow.
The communication can be over the Telegram group also.
Yeah, you can ask any questions via Telegram as well.
We can see this. We can see the chat. We only have problems to start up the video.
We can see the chat, but we can't use it for video.
Of the Telegram.
Of Telegram. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.